What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. What I have for you today is just some hip therapy, step-by-step guide, and also some explanations along the way. I know a lot of people out there struggle with this stuff and they're looking for some kind of guidance. I am currently at week 8 of my hip therapy recovery from my acetabular impingement in my right hip. This is gonna be a video with stretches, exercises, and brief explanation as to why I do what I do and how exactly I do it, for how many reps, for how long, and all of that. All right, so if you wanna skip through it to just get the exercises and stretches, by all means, the timestamps are in the description. If you guys enjoy this content, please be sure to leave a like on this video because it does help spread the word to the community and outreach to more people that need this kind of content. With that being said, let's get into it. Depending on where you're at in your recovery process, a little bit after about 5 to 6 weeks, I recommend going to 10 minutes. It's really a good time for your body and joints to warm up. I think I began biking around week 3, and I actually felt pretty good during that time, and I was doing 5-minute intervals. So again, I do have a knob here to make it harder and lighter. So it just depends on what you have available. I mean, gyms out there have all sorts of machines, so you can do how you please. I've done them on a vertical bike, I guess, not a seated back one. So just, again, what's your comfort level and what you can actually do. All right, guys, what we're gonna get into first is just a little bit of stretching. Every day is a little bit different depending on, your tightness, or maybe you're gonna focus on something in particular, like glutes or quads or something like that. I'm kind of just gonna go into a general thing for stretching wise. So first what I'm gonna do is just a hamstring stretch. This stretch is so important that a lot of people that have back pain need to do a little bit more frequently, because what they don't realize is that the back muscles are so tight and in pain because the attached muscles from the glutes and the hamstrings are so tight. And because we're walking all day, sitting and standing all day, that those muscles get very tight and they pull on the back muscles. So it is a very important muscle to stretch out, and really a lot of people's back pain comes from just that muscle being tight. They'll stretch that muscle out, get a little acupuncture in that muscle, and their back will start to feel a lot better. So first stretch we're gonna do is it's gonna be about a minute long, and we're just gonna go into the stretch. Make sure that you do the other leg as well. I know really a lot of people don't like stretching in general just because it takes so much time, and a lot of people feel like it's a waste of time. So when you're doing recovery, you'll tend to just do the side that you're recovering on. So for me, the right side. But then what happens is now you got uneven stretch in your body, uneven strength in your glutes or different muscle groups, and now you're gonna be compensating even more. So make sure that you even everything out and do everything on the other side as well. This one's a little tough for me because my surgery was on my right side, so I can't really lean forward because in my groin area, it's still super tight from the surgery. So what I'm actually gonna use is this band to help me get the stretch, because I can't really stretch my hamstring without it, just because my groin won't allow me to go forward. So I'm gonna help pull with the band during this stretch. Also, you could even let this leg out if that helps you lean forward a little bit more. But what's good about keeping your foot in on this side is it does give it a little bit of stretch in that groin area as well, and that's something I'm gonna do next. All right, next one I'm gonna do is just, you can call it whatever you want. I call it the figure 4, all right? This stretch started out with my foot down here and using some sort of band, dog leash, wrapped around my toe like this in order to help me guide my leg up my other leg. And it was just working that groin, that hip flexor out a little bit. And as I slowly progressed through my recovery, I let off of the band a little bit and started lifting it myself. And really just getting that motion down, going as high as I could before I got into some pain, and then coming back down. And now I'm able to really let it come up on its own. And what I want to do is just let this leg kind of drop. Initially, this was very painful. It wasn't actually, it wasn't painful, but it just wouldn't move. It was so tight, it would just sit here. And I would just have to slowly work it. And now I'm still very tight. As you can see, it doesn't want to drop below this threshold right here. And it's not painful, it just won't go. So again, I'm just letting it sit. If you feel that you can give a little bit of push, but be very gentle, because then it will start to hurt a little bit. So go ahead and, like I said, push a little bit, let it sit, and go for about a minute. As you go through this stretch, if it starts to hurt, you can let the leg go a little bit down and continue the stretch. So just however you feel. All right. Make sure you come down nice and slow. All right, now we're gonna do the other side. And as you can see, this leg will just sinks right down. I do have a problem with my left hip. It's not as bad as my right one was, but you can see how much different it is. This leg just sits. Just goes straight down. Now, it could still be a little bit better, but it's a lot further than my other one. So we'll go ahead and do a minute. All right, next I'm gonna go into a little bit of a quad stretch. This one is another one where you're gonna do it however is comfortable for you in whatever position. Standing, laying down, letting your leg hang off the table, whatever is comfortable for you. But for me, I'm not just trying to get this quad here stretched out. I'm trying to get the majority of the upper quad stretched out into here, because this is where I'm super tight and where it hurts when I walk. So for me, I'm gonna loop this band onto my foot. Turn over. And I'm gonna pull. And then go for about a minute. And again, you're gonna pull as much as, you know, to your pain tolerance. If you, what you want to do is make sure that you rotate your hips down so that it really pulls on that upper quad. You can really feel it sink in if you actually rotate those hips down. Naturally, we want our back to just lay and arch like if we were laying on our belly, but you're not going to feel that good stretch. You want to really tighten up that core, rotate those hips down. And go ahead and switch legs. Sit down. Good girl. Good girl. Now that I'm done with those stretches, I'm going to get into a little bit of the exercises. Now again, these are exercises that are meant to just rebuild some small muscle groups. They're not really intended to, you know, bulk up in that muscle group or anything like that, although you can add weight later on to these specific exercises to do that. But for right now, it's just going to be the you know, these exercises to really build those small muscles. Now again, I'm in my 9th week of recovery right now. During week 3, week 4, and all the other weeks, I was not using these bands yet. I was not doing it as hard as I could. It's a slow process. You got to build the muscle back. Initially with my hip thrusters, I couldn't even feel my glute contracting. But you just have to work it slowly, So I got these bands here. I like them a lot because they don't rip the hair out as much as other ones do. They are a little bit more slippery though if you're using them on you know, leggings or pants or anything like that. But as far as for, you know, the men out there, the hair, it doesn't pull as hard. But yeah, I'll put the link in the description below where I got them. I think they were like $8 for the different colors. They have these little dots on here to indicate how much resistance each one has. But yeah, so first one's going to be glute bridge, hip thrusters, whatever you want to call it. So like I said, the first one's going to be your glute bridge, hip thruster, whatever you want to call it. All right. You want to start out with your feet about shoulder width apart. As you get stronger, you can start to widen them up a little bit, use a heavier band, use multiple bands. The entire time you want to keep the glutes activated. Squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. If I can lift up and not squeeze my glutes and they're not doing anything. So when I thrust up, driving with the heels, I'm squeezing the entire way up until I get about flat. Then I'm going down, squeezing the entire way.
And I'll do about 30 of those. Now, again, when I started out, I wasn't doing 30, I was doing 10, then 20, then 30. And then I increased in strength and I did less again, just like any other workout. Straight from here, before I, move the band and injure my leg trying to take it off and put it back on for no reason, I'm gonna go right into my next exercise. All right, and this is just gonna be, my clamshells. Again, use the proper band so you're not hurting yourself, because this is gonna apply direct pressure to the hip. All right, so stay in this position. All right, sit down, sit down. All right, now what you wanna make sure you do not do here is rotate your hips. So as you come up, there is a tendency to want to rotate your hips in order to get that leg to go even higher, but you're not doing yourself any justice. The purpose is to flex and work out that hip flexor and that glute. All right, not rotate and roll over. So up as far as you can go and down, ensuring that you're activating that glute and that hip flexor. All right. And don't be scared to pause at the top. Don't be scared to pause at the top and hold it for as long as you can, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. And again, I'll do 30 of these. And also, don't forget to rotate over and do the other leg. You don't want an uneven muscle build, all right? All right. After the exercise is done, I'm gonna move into my next one, but I just wanted to talk about something real quick. I posted another video a couple days ago about putting on your socks and how to put on your socks with this injury. You can get to that, the link to that video is right here. It's the same thing with this band, all right? What I had to do, and I still have to do a little bit with the band, is I had to toss it on, put my foot in there, and then pull it up. Same with getting it off. I basically had to get it off like a pair of underwear, just like that. All right, the next exercise I'm gonna do is gonna be essentially a one-legged leg lift. Now, this one can be very difficult if you are in the early stages of your recovery, because it's directly gonna apply pressure to the top of that quad, where a lot of the pain comes from initially in the recovery process. So what you want to do is get some sort of soft ball. This is my daughter's Frozen ball. It's basically a kickball. It's got some bounce to it. And you put it under your leg, under your knee. From here, you're just going to lift up. Now again, this is early stages when the muscle's not that strong and there's still a little bit of pain. So once you've kind of graduated from that ball, you can move into the actual single leg lift. Now, if you have some kind of ankle weights at home, I do not. You can start to add those on to kind of strengthen it up a little bit. You could also use these bands. I would definitely recommend a lighter band because it is a little bit difficult, especially with the angle. It's going to start to pull on that leg. But yeah, this essentially leading into the quadricep extension, like the machines that you have at the gym. All right, this is just going to be your side step. Use any kind of band that's going to be good for you. The lower the band, the harder it's going to be. So if you need to start up high, that's fine. Slowly make your way down. Get into a squat, and as far as you can go, that's comfortable for your leg. And come on back. From here I go right into my monster walks. This one's gonna be a little bit more difficult with a heavier band, but basically you're gonna step forward and a little bit out. I'm gonna turn here so you can see my leg work.
Forward and out. Forward and out. Now this exercise is just going to be your standard kickback. It can be done with any kind of bands. You can do it without any weights or any bands at all. I'm going to use the cable system that I got going on here. You can do this at the gym as well. But like I said, bands are kind of the easiest go-to. So I'm going to go ahead and clip up. You gotta be cognizant of your knee position on this one. You can activate a bunch of different muscles in here. It just depends on what you're trying to go for. Again, we're just trying to hit the glutes at the moment. I do like hitting the hamstrings on this one, but so when you go to kick back, you wanna focus on the glute. It's gonna be the upper glute here, but again, if you straighten out that leg, you're gonna start hitting a lot of the hamstrings, which is a good thing if that's what you want, but we're trying to focus on the glutes here a little bit, so I'm just gonna all right, so this one's gonna be out to the side, just like this. This is definitely a progressive exercise. Initially for me, this is weak, this hurt, because it's directly pulling on the leg down here, causing a lot of pressure. So start with no band, then work into a very light band, and then eventually you can get into a little bit of weight. And even for myself, this is still a little finicky. So again, I'm squeezing that hip flexor and that glute as well. If it's more comfortable for you to go non-workout foot in the front, but it's gonna create a little bit different tension and pressure for you.